G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, I'm going to read you a part of an article I published on the weekend and show you a couple of videos, and then I'll give you some further comment in relation to the article, which is about Anthony Albanese's and Bill Shorten's CFMEU and HSU union cover-up scam. The videos I show you will be from the Trade Union Royal Commission back in 2014 in relation to Mark Irving, KC, who's been appointed to run the CFMEU, and his relationship with Cathy Jackson, which was exposed during the Royal Commission, which is one of a number of reasons why Mark Irving shouldn't have been appointed to run the CFMEU. And I'll show you those videos in a minute, but firstly, the article. Now, on Sunday, the 25th of August, 2024, I published an article titled Barrister Mark Charity Shag Irving, KC, appointed boss of the CFMEU, and Bill Shorten's crime gang charged over $24 million union fraud. Now, the title actually has 20 million. I updated it later when I recalculated the actual fraud. Now, the article starts off, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Labor Party were hit with two major union scandals on Friday, the 23rd of August, 2024, with Bill Shorten's crime gang at the Health Workers Union, HWU, headed up by Diana and David Asmar, charged by the Fair Work Commission with stealing $2.82 million. But as you will see below, the true amount of the theft is closer to $24 million, but no one seems to care. Albanese's government on Friday also appointed Mark Irving, KC, to run the CFMEU for at least 3 years, which is a major own goal given Mark Irving made millions from the HSU when fraud and theft was rife at the union. Mark Irving, KC, is best known to the public, as per the below video, for having a charity shag with HSU fraudster Cathy Jackson, which was exposed at the Trade Union Royal Commission in 2014. Now, at the Royal Commission, Cathy Jackson tried to have Mark Irving removed from representing the HSU in relation to cross-examining her at least, and that failed. Now, after that, we were all surprised in the media room, couldn't believe what we had heard. That application failed. That day, Mark Irving was leaving the Royal Commission, and we were all waiting outside. Now, as part of the evidence, Cathy Jackson said Mark Irving had a barber's chair in his lounge room and they had sex in it. And that's why you'll hear one of the journalists yell out, "Do you still have the barber's chair?" Now, I'll play you that video now. And you'll hear me asking about whether he notified the HSU in relation to his previous relationship with Cathy Jackson.
Is the HSU aware that you had a sexual relationship with Cathy Jackson?
Was that a bit uncomfortable in there today? Was that a little uncomfortable? Did you think you gave her a hard time?
Did you tell the HSU you had a sexual relationship with Cathy Jackson before you started the case? Before you took the brief?
Mr. Irving, do you still have the barber's chair?
Did you think you'd become part of the story? Or?
Why did you take the case when you had a sexual relationship with Cathy Jackson?
This relationship has the potential to influence these hearings? No comments at all?
Now, you would have seen Mark Irving right at the end there, hop in a taxi to get away from the media. It was quite an amazing day that day. Now, the next video I'm going to show you is Cathy Jackson the day after, on the 29th of August 2014, talking about being cross-examined by Mark Irving. And I'll just read you out a couple of quotes. Damien Ryan asked Cathy Jackson in relation to the HSU's barrister Mark Irving. He said, "Did it seem a little awkward? It seemed a little icy as a viewer watching. You've been cross-examined by your former lover," because we were all in the media room watching. Cathy Jackson responds, "I could not believe it. He had the audacity to sit there and want to cross-examine me. Forget the former lover stuff. Everyone makes mistakes and has a charity shag along the way." And that's where the tagline charity shag hit the media, got headlines back in 2014. Now, I'll play you the video now.
Did it seem a little awkward it seemed a little icy as a viewer watching you being cross-examined by your former lover. How was it?
I just could not believe he had the audacity to sit there and want to cross-examine me. Forget the former lover stuff, everybody makes mistakes and has a charity shag along the way. But quite frankly, what I heard on those tapes the previous day in the Royal Commission, when Brown and Williamson are colluding to who would fix me, they named Mr. Irving. And Mr. Irving is up to his neck in it. Mr. Irving is not your normal solicitor or normal barrister. There are Labor lawyers, particularly somebody like Mr. Brown, is a combatant. Mr. Brown is not your, Mr. Irving is not your sort of Phillip Street refined gentleman. Mr. Irving is a combatant in this. Mr. Irving has skin in the game. Mr. Irving has earned a lot of money out of the health services in the last 2 years, and he's been part of the vendetta to bring me down. I'm not making that up, that is fact.
The article goes on to say, the Fair Work Commission has launched legal action against Health Workers Union boss Diana Asmar, alleging she approved payment of more than $2.7 million to a printing business and got cash back. The Commission filed civil proceedings against Asmar, her husband David Asmar, and 5 senior members of the HSU executive team in the federal court on Friday, as well as allegations that Diana Asmar got $120,000 in purported financial reimbursements despite no evidence of any relevant business expenses. The Commission also alleged she personally authorised $2.7 million to be paid to a printing business for services that were never provided. Asmar personally received the benefit of cashback transactions relating to the printing conduct, including through the conduct of her spouse, David Asmar, who it is alleged was involved in arranging for the relevant payments to be made and received, the Commission said in a statement. The Commission cited HWU Branch Finance Manager Kerry Georgiev, Branch Committee of Finance Management Member Nick Katzis, Branch Assistant Secretary David Eden, Branch Senior Vice President Lee Atkinson, and Branch President Rhonda Barclay as other respondents of the legal action. They are accused of failing to comply with financial policies and procedures governing payments. The alleged conduct, which occurred between 2016 and 2021, significantly impacted the branch's finances and the ability of the branch to serve the best interests of its members, the Commission said in a statement. Now, some of those people I just mentioned were actually recommended for criminal charges at the Trade Union Royal Commission, including Secretary Diane Asmar, Kimberly Kitching, David Eden, Darren Rowe, Lee Atkinson, and Nick Katzis. Now, there's some of the same people charged on Friday by the Fair Work Commission. Now, I'll go on to say in the article, the fraud and theft at the HSU, HW, have been known for years. On the 18th of February 2015, I published an article titled Bill Shorten supporters involved in multi-million-dollar fraud at the HSU, which starts off, it has been well known for a long time that Bill Shorten's crime gang, led by Diana Asmar, David Asmar, Kimberly Kitching and Andrew Landew, have been ripping off the HSU Victoria No. 1 branch, known as the Health Workers Union. But now we have the financial report that shows the millions they have been stealing and rorting from some of the lowest paid workers in the country. The financial report is on their website for the 2013-14 year, but has only been dated on the 2nd of February 2015 for some reason. And I have a link to the actual report in the article. I am not an accountant, but even I can see the evidence of the schemes they were running. For example, wages in 2013 financial year were $1.8 million and blew out to $3.45 million in the 2014 financial year. This is a massive increase of $1.631 million, and consistent with the fact that we knew that Asmar and crew were employing Labor Party and union cronies to work at the union. In practice, they did very little work except to collect their pay. Prime example would be Kitching, who was employed as general manager on a package of about $120,000, yet did very little, if anything. She has since left, I understand, trying to avoid the criminal charges that were recommended against her by the Royal Commission. I've been told in the last few months up to 13 staff have been sacked as the branch is rapidly running out of money and has very few assets left to sell to keep them going. On paper, it says they made $735,000 profit for the 2014 year, but in fact, they really made a loss when the sale of their building is taken into account. The building was sold without the approval of members for a reported profit of $2.2 million. But if Andrew Landieu was involved, it is highly likely that some profit was skimmed off the top. Take the $2.2 million profit from the sale of the building out of the 2014 finances, and the reported $735,000 profit becomes a $1.5 million loss. This financial year, they have no building to sell, so that is why they have been sacking staff to try and avoid bankruptcy. They've been selling assets to fleece the union and its members. I've only dealt with a few issues from the accounts, but the whole financial report needs to be forensically audited by fraud experts. Other examples, like legal, went from $57,000 to $256,000. Printing went from $55,000 to $205,000. And catering and entertainment went from $9,000 to $63,000. My guess is that the real fraud and theft is easily at least $3 to $4 million. A year later, on the 28th of February 2016, I published an article titled "Bill Shorten Supporters Giving Warning by the Federal Authority to Stop Stealing from HSU Members," which says, "This website has been writing about the current fraud and theft going on at the Health Services Union for over 3 years. And this week, the Fair Work Commission finally stepped in with a written warning regarding possible legal action if the stealing doesn't stop. Bill Shorten supporters and friends, Diana and David Asmar, Andrew Landieu and his wife Kimberly Kitching, make Craig Thompson and Kathy Jackson look like amateurs when it comes to stealing from low-paid union members. But that doesn't worry Bill Shorten. The Fair Work Commission warning relates to the multi-million-dollar fraud at the HSU Victoria No. 1 branch, which is clearly shown by the financial records and resulted in a $1.7 million loss in 2015 financial year, which came after a $1.5 million loss in the 2014 year. Interesting that in 2015 and 2016, I published detailed articles about the fraud of the HWU, including the printing going from $55,000 to $205,000, which is relevant to the current charges. Yet the Fair Work Commission only charged them on Friday, the 28th of August 2024, which is 10 years after it was known publicly. Everyone has known for over 10 years of the fraud and theft at the HSU, HWU, but no one has done anything until now. Why? And the real fraud and theft that I detailed in the 2015-2016 articles linked above would really be closer to $24 million at a realistic estimate of $2 million per year since 2012. Not the $2.82 million the Fair Work Commission has hit them with, because that is only for the printing scheme when there are dozens of more schemes. A couple of HWU schemes that I wrote about in November 2022 in an article titled "Premier Dan Andrews, Immigration Consultant Nick Katsas, and the $20 million HSU Fraud and IBAC Corruption Investigation," which starts off, "Corruption in Victoria under Premier Dan Andrews is so open and blatant that immigration consultant Nick Katsas has been in the business for 15 years since 2007. And since 2012-13, he has also received over $100,000 a year as a full-time official for the Health Workers Union." Yep, that's the same Nick Katsas who was one of the people sued by the Fair Work Commission on Friday, as per above. And yes, he still works as an immigration consultant while collecting his HWU readies. All politicians on all sides of politics have known about the HSU, HWU fraud and theft for years. All the media have known, all the managers at the other branches of the HSU have known. But because they are part of Bill Shorten's crime gang, they've been protected until now. I wonder what has changed. Maybe the powers that be saw the writing on the wall with what is happening with the CFMEU. So what Anthony Albanese and Bill Shorten are doing with the CFMEU, putting it into administration, nothing but a scam. Mark Irving to take it over, the CEO in effect. He's a major league crook, had his snout in the trough for years at the HSU when they were ripping off people left, right and centre, and they still have been. Now I'll keep on following up on these issues and see what happens. But I suspect between now and the next federal election, a lot more is going to spill out. And because I've been reporting on the matter for over 10 years, I'm in a good position to tell you what the truth is behind the ins and outs of what the propaganda the government's trying to push. The takeover of the CFMEU is nothing but a cover-up attempt, try and make it look like they're actually doing something when they're not going to do a great deal anyhow. And why did it take the Fair Work Commission over 10 years to institute proceedings and stop the fraud and theft at the Health Workers Union, which is a part of the HSU? And Kangaroo Court of Australia's independent media publish a website and a YouTube channel, and I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please support my Patreon account or PayPal account. Donate any amount, $3, $5, $10, $15, $20, $30, $40, $50 a month, whatever suits your budget, all helps out in a big way. The link for the Patreon account and PayPal account will be below this video on YouTube, and also on my website. And please share this video on social media, and please hit the like and subscribe button. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.